This is Straight Talk with Enlightened Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome back to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg, the Preacher Man, and Shannon, and Ron, and Miss C, and myself. We hope and trust that you had a happy New Year, and you started the new year off with God sent it first. For he said, no good thing I will hold from those who love me, and my people will humble themselves and seek my face, then I shall heal their land. Well, you know, tonight, we're going to be bringing some information about what's going on. See, we got to know that God is still in control, and we can't doubt God. We got to believe God in all things. Now, we will show you where evil is trying to prevail and where God is moving, but we must see God in all things. Well, we're going to show you where the Senate has now said that you cannot declare war without us. They voted to not to do that. Can't do that. Then the president won't have the ability to do that. Then they're going to look at Greenland and how the present president wants to bribe Greenland to become citizens of the United States and take over Greenland. Well, brothers and sisters, stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back with Miss C, having you know you Miss C, and then we'll have Bill Marcellus and a clip from the Midas Touch talking about what happened with the Senate terrorist voting for war, that Trump cannot declare war without Congress, and then what Trump's plan is as to how to invade Greenland. Don't you go nowhere. You stay tuned. Stay right there.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. First of all, let me say Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, and I'm looking forward to 2026. I've got a big birthday coming up, and you'll probably be hearing about it until it happens. Anyway, I've got a few tidbits of information I'd like to share with you. Okay. There is an open audition call for all musicians, singers, dancers, rappers, spoken word, and more to showcase your talent in a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Live auditions will be held on January 10th and January 12th. And that's January 10th from 9 to 1 and January 12th from 5 to 9 p.m. That's 2026. At the Jenny T. Anderson Theater. Now, video auditions can be emailed to cobbnaacp@gmail.com. For additional information, you can call 770-425-5757. That's 770-425-5757. The 2026 celebration honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will take place on Monday, January 19th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Jenny T. Anderson Theater. That's at 548 South Marietta Parkway in Marietta, Georgia, 30060. J. Beck Vibes and WYZE Radio presents Friday Night Live 2026. That's on January 16th at 7:30 p.m. featuring the spiritual airs of Covington, Georgia, the dynamic Gospel Flames with special guests George Dean and the Gospel Four. It's going to be hosted by Deborah Murray and J. Beck at Shield of Faith Christian Center, 916 Harlan Avenue in Griffin, Georgia. Elder Luther Beckett invites everyone to his 70th birthday celebration on January 17, 2026 at 5 p.m. at Faith Memorial Church, 1676 Old Rex Morrow Road in Morrow, Georgia. Guests include Ruth and the Girls, the Anointed Believers, Drell and Disdained, and Mary Fields and Jay Beck, and God's Foundation. And listen, I'd like for you to do a few things for me before you leave. Number one, I'd like for you to like us. And number two, I'd like for you to subscribe. And number three, leave comments. And number four, share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know what you know. We are Straight Talk News. And if you'd like for us to announce your event, just email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's Straight Talk News, and be sure to spell it all out, 1362@gmail.com. Okay? And we're going to see you right back here next time, and I'm looking forward to spending the whole year with you, okay? Whole 2026. Have a good day. Bye.
The yeas are 52. The nays are 47. The motion is agreed to. The joint resolution will be placed on the calendar.
In a massive rebuke against Donald Trump, the United States Senate, in a vote of 52 to 47, which you just saw there, voted to advance a war powers resolution aimed at restricting Donald Trump from taking further military action in Venezuela without explicit congressional authorization. You have Republican Senators Murkowski, Young, Paul, Collins, and Hawley joining with the Democrats in that 52 to 47 vote. The war powers resolution now advances, but Donald Trump is threatening to veto it, and he is saying that he has absolute power to launch invasions wherever he wants to in the Western Hemisphere. Now, as the Senate has essentially rebuked Donald Trump there, the Trump regime sources are telling Reuters and others that they plan to do a hostile takeover of Greenland by way of paying Greenlanders between $10,000 and $100,000 each if they support secession and they basically become traitorous and treasonous to Greenland and sell out their own country to the United States. This is an unprecedented, hostile, and I would even say an act of potential war at this point to engage in this type of economic coercion against the sovereignty of a country. Here's how it's being reported by Reuters. Trump administration considers paying Greenlanders to join U.S. U.S. officials are discussing offering Greenlanders $10,000 to $100,000 each to support secession from Denmark and U.S. affiliation, to say that they're now part of the U.S. So let me just get this straight. As the Trump regime is taking away health care from tens of millions of Americans, they are trying to subsidize oil companies to the tune of $100 billion in Venezuela. They've given $40 billion or plus to Argentina. The United States is saying they want to, or Trump regime is saying they want to raise their military budget to $1.5 trillion, up from $900 billion, then up from $1 trillion that Trump announced via a social media post a few weeks back. And now they want to pay the people who live in Greenland $100,000 each to bribe them to become part of the United States. What the hell is going on here? The Reuters article goes on to explain that this plan is part of a broader White House deliberation, which also includes military options for an invasion if the people of Greenland do not accept the $10,000 or $100,000 checks. As we previously reported earlier this morning, France has been making plans with Germany and Denmark and others to prepare for a possible war against the United States if the United States invades Greenland.
All right, Ron and Shannon. Hey, listen, guys, what do you think about Marcellus and the Midas touch in the report on what the Senate did? One is a point to the Wars Act. And pretty much saying to Trump, you can't declare war without us. Trump said, yes, I can. I can do it because I am the dictator. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. And then his desire to take over Greenland and to bribe them, to pay monies to bribe them to actually sell out their country. When you're cutting out programs, you want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to bribe people to take over their country, but then you want to cut out programs over here in the United States. You want to take our tax dollars and use our tax dollars to benefit who? Who? The 1%? And we're going to start talking and discussing now. Hey, listen, Shannon, I'm going to let you go first today because first of all, the guys, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. And I want to thank Bishop Roland Tate, who is a very, he listens every time we're on. He listens to, I call him our unofficial producer. He listens to all our programs, and he really enjoys it, and he critiques it. So, but to him, thank you so much for watching and enjoying our program. And do share. And I've said to the others, share Straight Talk with your family members and friends, and keep God first. And remember, God still is in control. All right, Shannon, I'm gonna let you go first, and let's get your thoughts, and then we'll call on Ron.
Okay, and I'm gonna be brief because I wanna make sure that we can have as much dialogue as possible tonight. When you worship money, you think that money solves, and I know that there's a misinterpretation of the scripture that money answers all things. But we really think that everything comes down to the dollar, and the reality of it is that is just not the case. You're not going to be able to bribe folks. I mean, if China called all of us and said they would give us all $3 million apiece if we became China, would we want to give up the experience of the United States of America, our cultural, our everything, in order to become a territory of China? I would bet you dollars to donuts that would not be the case. For 3 million, not for 10,000 or 100,000, but for 3 million. But this president is just hell bent on having his way, and he has a chronic ignorance of the United States Constitution, and he has a chronic ignorance of the manner to which the world is really run. Everything he sees it through a Donald Trumpian scope, optic, and unfortunately that's his optic, but that's not the optic that serious people embrace. And I think that the United States Senate proved that they were going to be the adult in the room of this co-equal branch of government.
Right, Ron?
I think this is one of the most significant indicators that we have a civilization actively terraforming the earth to meet their political and socioeconomic needs. This foreign policy maneuver is a practice of Sankofa by the Trump administration. Trump has hearkened directly back to the Monroe Doctrine, in which the United States became the principal industrial and military power in the Western Hemisphere after the conclusion of the Industrial Revolution. And so the United States took as its prerogative to begin dominating the foreign policy and economic decisions of countries within Central and South America, and the United States maintained a sphere of influence over these countries since that doctrine was espoused nearly 150 years ago. And so Trump's understanding of the Monroe Doctrine, and he's able to infuse his nationalistic politics to expand the industrial military complex, to have missile launch capabilities from Greenland at the top of the North Pole all the way down to the bottom of South America, nearly at the South Pole. This is the very much fulfillment of the militaristic regime and the military industrial complex that Dwight Eisenhower warned this nation against back in the late 1950s. We want to pretend as Americans that this is something new, but this is a trajectory that our country has been on throughout the entirety of our lives. and we have now seen the head of this snake when we refuse to invest in internal improvements to fix our roads, bridges, and levees. We refuse to invest in proper health care and education. We refuse to create speed rails that can connect our country, making transportation easier and ecologically viable. But we continue to fund ICE. We continue so that they can shoot Americans dead in the street. We now continue to fund these foreign policies initiatives that will pay potentially between $10,000 and $100,000 to Greenlanders to abandon their heritage, national creed, and association. We spent $40 billion to Argentina to bail them out. And so this America First ideology has been a white nationalist cover to really begin to finalize the plans that were initiated at the beginning of European colonialism back when France, England, and Spain first sent their explorers on the land here in what would become the United States. It is important for our communities to start an equal practice of Sankofa, to revive the ancestral mission of the first displaced Africans to gain independence of the means of control of our communities so that we can have a definite response to this ordering of the world that is a definite reality coming from the White House. So I believe this is a very spiritual moment, and we had better rise to the plate, or we will literally be left in the past.
All right. All right. Now, Ron, you said something that I think that really we need to dwell on a little bit, because you're eating your own in this country. We're eating our own. Because now we've started taking the lives of American citizens and justifying why we're doing it. The federal government who we fund through our tax dollars, because this year, this January now, people are going to start getting ready to fill out their income tax return, right? So we already taxed it, and so they're taking our dollars. They want to put $1 trillion over here, $1 billion over there. They want to take care of everybody else, but not us. You want to cut out the food stamp program, TANA. You want to cut out all these programs that benefit the least, the less, the lost, but you want to go and help other people in other nations and asking them to become a part of us when we are not eating our own. Why would you want to be a part of a country that start eating your own? I mean, really, you destroying your own. So I want to be a part of your country I can get in your country and you can destroy me too. You give me $100,000, but then you turn around and you take my life, or you turn around and you put me in jail or put me in prison, or you decide that I'm no longer worthy to be in your country, so I'm gonna ship you out on the Isle of Patmos somewhere, right? So I mean, so this is what we're dealing with. So we're ministers. We're talking about spiritual. You talked about spiritual. We're ministers. We got to see where we are. We got to look at the fact of how much land we, as a people, the black people, that have been taken from us by public policy, right? By public policy. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with public policy, right? We're dealing with those policies that they're establishing. And Trump said, "The heck with your policy. I'm going to create my own policy." And then when you start having policy that's being created, then and it hadn't been voted on, if you keep on doing it, then it becomes what? Policy by default, right? And when they allow him to do these things, so it becomes what? Policy by what? Default. So what we're seeing is we're seeing things that are happening that are unprecedented, but now becoming public policy. But that's something that I think that we need to continue to dwell on and talk about it, because we as a people, and when I talk about us in terms of black people, we have been disenfranchised. We have everything that we have had, affirmative action, all those kinds of programs that were set forth, the Civil Rights Act and all those things, Voter Rights Act, all of those things are being taken away from us, right? And so now we need to go back and understand our heritage and our history. They even taken away, Shannon, the museums, African American Heritage Museum. They're taking the history away from us, and our young people don't know the history, and they won't be able to know the history because those who do know the history won't be able to tell the history. Like Atlanta, for example, Atlanta, the city we live in, Atlanta, the history of Atlanta, the black Atlanta, Auburn Avenue, Hunter Street, those areas, Summerhill, Peopletown, Mechanicsville. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on. But our heritage is being taken away from us, and so our young people don't know. They seeing the bright lights and the beautiful things and stuff like that. But the undercurrent is you're being misused and you're being abused, but you just don't know it. You're just being used. But Shannon, I'm gonna let you go because you said you're gonna be brief now. I'm not going to just take over the conversation. I'm gonna let you say what you need to say because I know you burning up over there. Yeah, you all zipped up, so I know you're burning up.
Well, you know what? I think Ron gave a very comprehensive critique of the matter, and I think you just kind of pulled out. I do want to push. There is in my black nationalism, there is this do for self. I'm determined to do for self, and I think that there's a great opportunity in a lot of this for us to return back Sankofa, Ron, for us to look back to community and for us to invest in ourselves, because we see this globalization and we see this kind of white racist, white supremacy, white privilege that is being fashioned and formed into policy. And it's a policy of survival. Because it's very pragmatic. Their politics is extremely pragmatic. As evil as it may be, as immoral as it may be, for them it's very pragmatic. At the end of the day, white folks are looking at the browning of this country, and they are saying, we need to do something about it. But no one was going to do anything about it until they elected someone who literally said, "Oh, you like what I'm saying? This crazy stuff I'm saying? Oh, you like it? Okay, then if you put me in office, I'm going to do it." And they've chosen someone that will begin to do that. I think that I love the fact that we have the Smithsonian given us a wonderful museum. I love that museum. And I think that we have paid the price to be able to have that and more, because we have built this country, and we don't forget. So those folks who are here now that are standing in line with us and before us did not build this country. Let's make it clear that we as black people in America, we built this country. Jamaican Americans, not Caribbean Americans that come here, not Africans that are coming here. There's 100 million or more. The descendants of those slaves that were brought from Africa to this country and to the Caribbean, who built the United States of America. We built it. And African Americans, by and large, are now forfeiting our voice, our role, our responsibility to fuel our existence in this country. Here's the opportunity, and I'm going to be quiet. The opportunity is that it's time for us to pool our resources. That we see now that with this pragmatic, racist, self-serving pragmatic, I will say, pragmatic to them, racist, white supremacist policy being pushed every day in our face, it's our opportunity now to say, we will tell our story. We will invest in our story. We will invest in our people. We will invest in our community, and began to build what Malcolm and Garvey and several others talked about when they talked about community. Now, I'm not advocating right now that we should pack up and go all the way where Garvey said go back to Africa. I'm not saying that right now, though. I think we need to invest there. White man going to the moon, as Gil Scott Heron said, Whitey's on the moon. Whitey's investing on the moon, while black folk are suffering here. Whitey's on the moon. While black folk are suffering here, Whitey, and that's as true today as it was in the 1970s when he talked about his sister bitten by a rat and her face is swelling and her body's swelling and she can't get no health care and she can't get this, and Whitey's on the moon. Well, Bezos is on the moon. Whitey's on the moon today, and black folk are suffering. It's an opportunity, y'all, for us to come together, pool our resources, and do for self.
I'm glad you said that. Ron, I'm going to bring you back in. But I want to talk about history in terms of what you're talking about, is that we had a lot. We had a lot. But then again, public policy took it away from us. The eminent domain is not something new. That we own billions and much property in terms of black people. We had, I was looking at something about Beaumont, Oklahoma, where there was black people that were thriving in versus even before Tulsa, even before some. But some of that we were contained. We were able. Our community was contained. We were contained. We were thriving. We had our own stores. We had our own businesses. We had all these things that we had that we provided for our community, and we looked out for our community. The black church is a problem. It is a problem because one is the black church is moving toward entertainment as opposed to talking about those things in terms of the morality things, in terms of loving your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you have them do unto you. We had that. That's that Sankofa experience we had. We were there for each other. We're not there for each other. We're jealous, we're envious, selfish, we're greedy, we're all those things. And we're tearing each other down as opposed to lifting each other up. And I think that as the black church, the black preacher, we have failed the community because we have not lifted them up. We have advocated our responsibility to the politicians, the policymakers who have set policies to hurt us, not to help us. To hurt us, not to help us. So we got to look at what we can do as a people and as ministers that's vocal and that's going to be speaking truth to power, because that's what we're going to need in this time, because we cannot rely upon government to come and help us, because government is not going to help us. Government is going to continue to set forth policies to hold us back and to hold us down. And I ain't talking about the white man holding us back. I'm saying we holding ourselves back because we see what's going on and we're not trying to do anything to make it better for ourselves, because we are selfish, we're greedy, we're jealous, we're envious, and all those things are attributes of Satan, and we're carrying them out through the church, through the body of Christ, or through the church. I wouldn't say the body of Christ because we're not following the dictates of Christ, because Christ tells us to love one another, tells us to look out for one another. So that's my 2 cents, Ron, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Bishop, you gave the perfect inroads to the point I wanted to make, why group economics is the only solution against the terraforming and foreign policies of our national government. When we bring up that clip of the War Powers Act and the resolution supposedly by the Congress to limit the powers of the executive, it's so disappointing. And it motivates me to abandon any hope in government checking itself and reforming itself to get on the right road. Congress should be subpoenaed, should be sent subpoenas to the Pentagon, to these generals who are executing coming from the president directly that don't have congressional authorization to try to tell Trump he needs to do his constitutional duty after he already broke his constitutional duty. That is a sign that kind of intentionally making that Congress is intentionally withdrawing from any practical approach of stringing Trump's dictatorial approach to military and U.S. foreign policy. These generals have to give an account of the application of their duty because they understand clear as the president. Congress initiates war. Congress declares war before we can execute military operations. But if Trump has already executed a military operation, trying to tell him to come back and do his constitutional duty is simply a waste of time. Congress has failed to cut the purse strings of the military, as Trump, as Shannon mentioned earlier, has already communicated that he's looking for 50 increase in military from current $900 billion that we spend on defense spending to $1.5 trillion by 2027. The has never
we can't run. You're chopping up. We can't really understand what you're saying. You're chopping up. You hear me right? You're chopping up. We really can't understand. I think the last point that we may got that was clear is how much money that is being spent or being asked to be spent for military, and in addition that the generals and those individuals who know the Constitution, they're allowing Trump to do the things that he's telling them to do that they know they're unconstitutional, the things that they're doing. And I think that Mark Kelly, who's a U.S. senator, who is being dragged in the mud by Hexelf and Trump and want to take his pension and all those things away from this man who was in the Navy and who was an astronaut, and his wife who was shot as a congresswoman, and all those things, who dedicated his life to protect this country, because he and a few others said you do not have to obey unlawful commands. And now because he said it, now he's on the fire. Because he was saying what was true. That's what it says. That's what it said. It also said that the president he's supposed to look at terrorists from without and within, but he creating the terrorists within. So he's establishing terrorists within. You talked about a little while ago about the young lady in Minnesota who was shot by an ICE agent who is the Gestapo, right? Who killed her and told me she was trying to run over him. I mean, come on, man. Really? And I think Stephen A. said it better. If you feel so that she was trying to avoid you, there are tires, or you could have shot her out the tire. You had a gun, you could have shot out the tire. You didn't have to shoot her. I mean, those are things that I think that we need to really think about and talk about, and this whole military takeover. But we talked about this, Shannon. You remember we talked about this martial law thing, that he was going to create these wars so that he could create martial law to do exactly what he's doing now. So when it's time for him to run again, he's got these wars going on, and that he cannot be removed from the office because of the wars and stuff that's going on. That's a play that's being played out right before our eyes, and people like, Paul Revere said it best. He said the British are coming, the British are coming, the British are coming. We was a sound alarm with Project 2025. We told them in Project 2025 before people voted that these things were going to happen, and people still did not hear it, and they still went out and voted. And now we're getting what we're getting because people didn't listen. People, this is what about their business. They think things gonna be better. Again, to the enticement of money, because Trump gave me $300. Trump gave me this. Trump gave me this. Well, it was your $300 anyway. It was your money anyway. So he hadn't done anything for you other than take from you. And we see the takeaway. Shannon, I'm gonna let you close out because Ron's mic is choppy. But we're gonna pick back up because Ron's gonna get new mics and new system next week and he'll come back. But I'm gonna let you close out, Shannon.
Well, Ron is back, but let me just, you mentioned Renee Nicole Good, mother of three, who was killed protesting the ICE agents in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Excuse me, 2 mornings ago. And I don't know what it is about Minneapolis and cold-blooded, state-sponsored, authoritarian police murders. I don't know what it was. That was about 4 blocks away from where George Floyd was killed by the police right before our eyes. I've listened to this administration try to do what my father would sit and watch us do, which is to dig ourselves deeper into something rather than to fall on our sword. You're just not going to be able to explain this away. The President of the United States of America receives the greatest intelligence than anybody else in the world. The American system of intelligence, with all of its various branches, is the most intelligent or the most concise intelligence agency apparatus in the world. And this president said that a car ran over, a woman drove a car over a ICE agent. It was not until the film came out and we could see that you had a man standing in front of a car. I pastor police officers, and we talk a lot about, police procedures. I'm a police chaplain, and I'm around police a great deal. Police are trained never to stand in front of a car. That stop in the name of the law is television. Only a damn fool stands in front of a car or behind the car to try to get it to stop. Because cars move forward and cars move backwards. They have to do 3 and 4 point turns to move. They do not move laterally. And so if you're standing on the side, which is police procedure, when she did the 3 point turn, she would have perhaps driven away. If he wanted to stop her, again, agreed, he would have shot out the tires. But I don't want to hear that an American citizen was voicing her opinion to an employee of the American government, which is an ICE agent. I don't want to hear that she was not impeding or stopping at that point an arrest. She was not impeding or stopping anything from those officers carrying out. She was protesting. They were there in the street. The officers gave a command for her to go. They gave a command to stay. Then they said, get out the car. All of this is going on. The woman's wife she didn't even know what's going on. She's over here talking to the ICE. She's getting ready to get back in the car. They're driving off. And this officer shoots her point blank in the head. Now, I'm going to close off with this. They were putting out this posse. White folk love, Southern white folk especially, they love to form a posse. In the West, they used to form a posse. We got to get a posse. And they put out an ad where they were forming a posse. I don't know if you remember the ad. They said, join ICE. Mm-hmm. You have any law enforcement experience, join ICE, and we'll give you $50,000 signing bonus right before Christmas. I don't know if you remember that. They're not running that ad anymore. because they've got the amount of sycophants, of racists, of people who are in fear, and I'm going to close out on fear. You've gotten the right amount of number of those now to be able to carry out whatever their point is. And so they stopped that. They posse up. And we're watching the posse of white supremacy. The posse of white, and this posse of white supremacy is backed up by a government that is forming a public policy of white privilege. When a white man shoots you, it's not murder. When a white man with bad shoots you, it's not murder. Now, we'll go through the rigmarole, but at the end of the day, we're going to clear him because he has a privilege that has been codified into power. And that's going on. What I saw in that shooting is what is going on with what I'm calling their skewed but their self-serving, skewed, pragmatic politics of fear. These folks are afraid of being erased. They are afraid that if the numbers are not there, that the brothers and sisters at the gate will form a rainbow coalition of the marginalized and come back against them. That is the fear, that they don't have the control. And so they're doing everything they can. So what I saw in that shot was fear wrapped up in white privilege, white supremacy, white anger, white angst. So the cops that were on the Atlanta Police Department, of course, the Chicago Police Force, the NYPD, the LAPD, they said, get out of there. Because these are being run by liberal cities. Come join a force that will allow you to live out your right. And we will protect it under policy. And that's what we are up against. From my vantage point, that's where I believe we're up against.
Well, thank you so much for your analysis. But one thing I'm going to leave with that, and your point to that point is that remember the young lady who went with her husband to the Department of Naturalization, and they arrested her husband, and then she was talking, and then the officer knocked her down on the ground, and then they said they cleared him. They cleared him and that was in plain view. So to your point, you're absolutely right. They can do no wrong. Whatever they do, it's fine. Hang them on the noose. Hang them on the noose. That's fear. Kill them. Hang them, and we'll cover for you. Don't worry about it. We got your back. Just do what you need to do. Don't worry about what's going to happen to you, because ain't nothing going to happen to you. Don't forget the Epstein file. Hey, listen, guys, we're going to get ready to get out of here. Thank you so very much. God bless you. And listen, as we always say, it's a straight talk around the world with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones, and Ronald Allen, and Britt C. with news and information. Until next week, this ain't been nothing but what, guys? Straight talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fan, the Preacher Man.